The inspiration came from my desire to take a day off. As a landlord, there is no day off. There is only, you have to be available. You never know when the next call is going to come. The only alternative, if you want to take a day off, is to hire a full-time property management company.
So today we have Liat Arama. She is the CEO and co-founder of Keasy. It is a property management technology company. She brings over 14 years of hands-on property management experience, and she founded Keasy after having firsthand experience that as a landlord that highlighted the huge inefficiencies that are in the traditional property management model. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, and make yourself at home.
Thank you for having me.
So what inspired the transition from a 14-year career as a self-managed investor into building this modern property management platform from scratch?
The inspiration came from my desire to take a day off.
I get that.
Yeah. And I will explain. As a landlord, there is no day off. There is only, you have to be available. You never know when the next call is going to come. The only alternative, if you want to take a day off, is to hire a full-time property management company, which usually comes with some very long commitment and a complete loss of control on the day-to-day operation, hefty fee. All of this I did not want, but what I did want is the ability to take a day off, to turn my phone, to release a little bit of the landlord anxiety without losing the control on the entire operation. Yeah. And that is what Keasy offers landlords. Keasy is a landlord concierge. It's an a la carte property management solution that you can order in a very modular, per use case, depending on your need. So what this actually means is that landlords, first of all, they can choose if they want to be a regular subscriber or maybe if they just need a one-off service. We regular subscribers, we would answer phone calls, triage problems, do all the tenant handling communication, but without the decision and the money handling, meaning rent goes to you, our fee is paid separately. It's two different transactions. We don't mix them up. And decisions are going based on what you tell us. Some landlords say, just handle everything and bill me. Others say, I want to know everything that's going on. And anything in between is an option. Tell me only if it's over a certain amount. Call me on everything, but only on weekdays. Full modular experience where you're a little friendly helper and you can use us any way you want.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So how did the unique perspective of starting as an independent landlord reveal operation flaws that the industry insiders were completely missing?
Well, my past background is I worked for Microsoft and I worked as a partner account manager. My job was to help Microsoft partners implement new technology. So my entire approach into how I ran my own portfolio was very tech first, efficiency, things like that. What I found in traditional property management companies, in addition to their business model that I don't like, they don't have any motivations to get any better at anything that they do because they get paid for problems. Yeah. Right? Tenant doesn't pay rent. Oh, you have an eviction. They get paid for the eviction. Tenant moves out, they get paid for the turnover. Repair and maintenance, they mark those up. So basically, I'm hiring someone, I'm giving them the keys to my asset, and I'm motivating them to cause me expenses. And that
sounds like HOAs.
I know, right? In a way, not all property managements are necessarily evil and want to hurt your business, but the model itself doesn't make sense, right? Me as a landlord, I will want to choose long-term tenants. I will want to work with my tenants. I will want to negotiate evictions and not drag them for months. All of these things, all these things are so different approach coming from a landlord, property owner, operator versus a property manager. That was the main observation. Then on the day-to-day, there is so many incredible tools and ways to run the business more efficiently. Then I thought I can break it down. I can create a menu of services. I can sell them for less And I can still be very profitable if I get my act together and I use all the skills that I have to automate everything that I can.
Yeah. I do legacy percentage-based fees and maintenance markups create such a direct conflict of interest between traditional property managers and landlords?
Well, I think the core here is that the job is the same job. And the property manager gets paid on something that they have no control or has nothing to do with their effort, right? Like a maintenance request is a maintenance request, whether it's a $20,000 sewer backlog or just a regular $300 plumber call. It's the same job for the property manager. There is no reason in the world to pay them so much more just because, the bill was higher. Same for lease up. It's the same effort for us to write a lease. Doesn't matter the price of the rent.
Yeah.
So that whole industry is based. It used to make a lot of sense, okay? Because before we had computers and online payments and all the tools that we have today, you'd have to drive to the property and collect rent. And then you'd drive around with the rent. And if the rent was $10,000, that's a bigger risk than $5,000.
Yeah.
But that's not the case no more. Property managers don't drive around and collect rent. They don't even drive around and show apartments. There is apps and so many ways to show without being present.
Yeah.
Everything has changed and developed and evolved except for the business model. And what Keasy is doing is basically saying, hey, let's take all this technology, let's take all these incredible tools and bring the price down and the business model down to support property owners in 2026.
It's a smart way to stand back and take a look at it. You're right. I mean, everything has really been automated in a sense, especially like even if you're just picking up the phone and calling the vendors.
Nobody picks up the call.
Having to vet them.
Exactly.
Yeah. How does the standard property management model actually incentivize a high tenant turnover versus prolonging vacancy versus maximizing company profits?
Well, the biggest thing with the finding tenants is the decision on whether or not to accept the tenants, right? Okay. If I'm a landlord and I have 2 applications, one is a traveling nurse, which I love travel nurse and they're the best, but they're coming in for 3 months and it's very expensive to turn over in between. And the other one is for a family that's looking for a 1-year lease. Me as a landlord, I'll take the 1-year lease, right? Will the property management manager make the same decision for me? I'm not sure. I want to be involved. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to give the decision making to someone else. And that's what Keasy is doing differently. We execute, we don't decide. You want to send us to do something? We're a concierge. We can go, we can show a unit, we can open the door, close the door, send a lease, send a notice. We can do all these things. We have a menu of services that we can do, but you decide what we do. And that's a big, big difference in the entire philosophy of how the business is run.
You're giving power back to landlords.
Yes.
So what technology shifts allowed a modern platform to operate on a low flat fee per door when the rest of the industry charges up to 10% of monthly rent?
Well, for what it's worth, I think the rest of the industry is charging those fees because they can. Kind of like insurance agent and travel agent, they are still around, but people are using them less and less because there's options. So I feel like this property management industry is going in the same trend.
Okay.
It's still there. We can still use it. Some people like it, right? Like they want to be completely hands off and not touch the money and not be involved. Great. But Keasy is offering an alternative that gives you options that before were not exist. How we do it? There's so many tools that are improving property management life today. Online screening of tenants, online rent payment, AI robots that dispatch repair and maintenance for you, collection robots that flags cases and sends follow-up email. There's more and more and more. We have an entire department at Keasy product team that basically sits down once a week with the team and goes, what have you done this week manually that is stupid? And the week after, that's automated.
Oh, nice. So not only is Keasy basically modernizing everything, but they're also continuing to learn.
Always.
Wow. So How does separating property income from maintenance expenses protect a landlord and their overall net operating income?
Oh, so many ways. First of all, rent is in the bank, directly in your bank. I don't touch it. We don't mess around with it. We don't deduct anything from it. So you have some better control of your cash flow because the money is there. Now, the expense is a different story. Maybe you want to pay with credit card. I got it. Most of my landlords want to pay bills with credit card because then they get points and they travel and they do whatever they do. Your choice. Here is the bill. Tell me how to pay it, right? Sometimes you have cash flow issues and you want to pay a vendor a little late. Sometimes you want to pay a vendor a little early. I have vendors that I work with for years, and when they have cash flow problems, I'll pay them in advance and I'll deduct it later. You can't do that with a property manager, but as a private owner, you can. So what Keasy is doing is basically telling you, here's your income. We're going to collect it for you. We got a platform for this. We can even deposit checks to your bank if you need. But it's to your bank, not to our bank. We don't need your money to park with us. There's no double accounting. There is less liability here. You see exactly what you earned. Amazing. Landlords love it. It's by far the best thing that Keasy does is not touch the money. Separate department, the service team, your tenant call, they have an issue. We explore the issue. You choose the vendor. You approve the work order, and you tell us how you want to pay. Now, we are a concierge, so if you want us to use your credit card to pay your bill to a third party, we can do that for you. But if you don't want us to, then we won't. Of course, we expect you to pay the bill to the vendor. Different story, different podcast.
Yeah, unfortunately, we all still have bills that we have to pay.
I'll tell you, I've been a landlord for a long time, and cash flow is challenging. Especially these days. Like, this has been a rough year for all of the landlords I work with. Nobody's going to be homeless, but it's been a rough year. Sometimes paying a bill 1 week before, 1 week later makes all the difference. Whereas in a property management, you don't even have the option to consider this. You just get what's left after they're done making all the decisions for you.
Yeah. So what do you think is the primary operational bottleneck that causes small landlords to hit a wall when they're trying to scale past single-digit unit count?
I think what scares landlords the most is the regulation. It's one thing to have one house and your tenants, and when 2, 3, 4, when you become a business and you start being, work on scale, there's things you got to follow, there's rules, there's, and I think a lot of landlords get scared at that point and they think they have to have a property manager that will run their books and buy their permits and all of these things. Keasy has a Keasy Academy and a ton of resources that we provide landlords to help them take over their business, right? Like the most simple thing, like in Washington State where we operate, you need a rental license in almost every city that you work. Landlord comes to us and they say, oh my gosh, we don't know how to do it. It's so complicated. First of all, if you can own real estate, you can buy or apply for a business license. Like, you're smart enough to own real estate, you're smart enough to handle your business, period. Keasy helps. Keasy can do it for you. We're a concierge. You can sign whatever and we'll take care of that problem for you. But we also have resources for you to do it yourself. And what we see is landlords a lot of times are very scared to make that change. But 1, 2, 3 months later, they feel empowered. All of a sudden, the money is in the bank on time. They have full control. And when they have a problem, they have a friend, Keasy, they send an email, we solve the problem.
That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Not only are you giving them the power, you're keeping their money where they need to be, which is in their pocket.
Yep.
And then you're teaching and educating as well.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, my bigger vision is I want to teach everyone how to be landlords, or at least how to be a future landlords. Like, if you're a tenant, then you should also know what it means to be a landlord. So if you're talking vision and, long-term goals here, education is part of the journey, because a lot has changed in the world and people need to catch up with the change.
It was an article that I read several years ago that said, if you can control how people live, you control society. And so started seeing all of these hedge funds buy up all of this property, especially in the Charlotte metro region, which is where I'm at. When we started seeing all of this, it was, wow, this is huge, because these huge hedge funds were coming in, buying all this property, and all of these people are now tenants. And now you're seeing same hedge funds actually build entire communities of nothing but rentals.
Yeah. I mean, it's well known that there are more rentals than homeowner, and that trend is continuing. So we equally educate owners on how to be good owners and tenants on how to be smart tenants. That's part of the Keasy experience. My vision for Keasy is that anything real estate, you're going to want to be running it through Keasy.
So how can real estate investors scale to nearly 100 doors without sacrificing cash flow or surrendering the executive control over assets?
That's exactly how. We have over 500 doors under management in 1.5 years of operation here at Keasy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we have landlords with 1, 3, 5, and then we have landlords with 20, 30, 50. All of our larger landlords bought more real estate after joining Keasy because they were so happy with the cash flow improvements and the ease of use. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you grow. If you are a landlord who wants to focus on buying real estate and expanding their portfolio, but not at the price of losing control of their existing portfolio, we are your partners. We will help you in where you want our help, and we will not help you where you don't want your help. And it's very interesting to see how different landlords have different priorities, right? Like some are all over repair and maintenance. They want to be involved. They want to make sure it's the best materials. They care about others. I don't want to hear about it. Leave me alone. Just give me my money. It's fine. It's fine. We can work with you any way you want. Not that we're not going to take care of the repair and maintenance. We're not going to drive you nuts with it.
Correct. So one of the things that I think is wonderful about you is the fact that you treat your rental tenants as a core part of your underlying asset rather than just a source of monthly revenue.
Well, I'll tell you even more. I appreciate you saying that very, very much, because if you ask me, the asset is the tenant. It's not the property.
Correct.
The property is worthless if there's no tenant.
Correct.
Yeah. So the entire philosophy of Keasy is we want tenants to choose us. We want tenants to enjoy working with us. And one day when we're all over the place, to actually go and look for a Keasy managed property because they know that they have 24/7 access to repair and maintenance. Their voice is heard. Their problem is being reviewed, even if the owner is non-responsive. There's somebody there in between watching. That's exactly what we are here to achieve.
I can tell you there have been hundreds of times that I hear people every single day that they tell me, we had a mold issue. We never heard back. There's an issue in the bathroom. We've put in 4 or 5 tickets and nobody ever responds. Now, on apartment complexes, they have maintenance guys on site. My son is one of them. And so we've seen that. But to know that somebody actually cares and takes care of the tenant, that they're not just a paycheck.
Totally.
And that's what we need to see human being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree.
Just like that article that said, if you control where people live, you control society. And that's scary.
Yeah.
That we're all seen as cattle or a herd that needs to be controlled. But as a homeowner, you are the one who controls the land. You're the one who makes the decision. And it means a lot. And by giving tenants that power, and I've heard so many people say that tenants have power, but to give tenants that ability to know that they're valued beyond their paycheck,
Absolutely.
to me is huge.
Yeah. I mean, it is our core offer to the landlords, right? We believe the tenant is the asset, not the property. The property is also an asset, but without a tenant, the property has zero value. So our job as your concierge is to keep the tenant happy. Now we can go into what keeps the tenant happy, what's reasonable, what's not reasonable. There's a ton of situation in the space. But the bottom line is our working assumption is tenants are good people, that we deliver one of the most essential services to them. And our goal is to make sure that they're comfortable.
Yes.
So simple.
And on top of that, that you treat them not like a paycheck.
Exactly.
They're
By the
not
way-
a problem. They're not a problem to be solved. They are a person, and you give everybody that autonomy.
Well, let me tell you a tradition that I have for years that helped me with my portfolio, and now I do it at Keasy. We do Christmas joyrides every year. From the beginning of my career, I drive around and I deliver a gift to the door of every tenant that I own. Myself, I own 140 apartments right now. Me and my husband, every year for years. So stupid. So, my lawyer used to laugh at me that I'm like the only landlord in the world that gives their tenants gifts. But I have a very low turnover and I get tons of referrals and my properties are doing well, even in hard times. And I 100% think this is why. It's the entire attitude of, I'm grateful for you to choose to live here, even if you had no other choice. It doesn't matter. You chose to be here. I appreciate it and respect you.
Liat, I can tell you, you are not the only landlord that does that, because I actually have a landlord that does do that.
Nice.
But
I'm sure I'm
rare.
nuts. But here's fun statistic. Last year was the first year we did this. We offered this to Keasy landlord, right? Like we send out a shout out. If you want to join the joyride, click here. We'll add your tenants. We'll do this. Almost everyone joined. Almost everyone joined. And those who didn't, just because they missed the email, it's not because they said no.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think landlords I don't like the word landlords, by the way. We're not lords. I like to call us housing providers because that's what we are. We are housing providers. But I think landlords are, at the end of the day, most landlords are like that. Just for whatever reason, we all have this evil landlord picture in mind. Tenant is bad, landlord is a lord. That's not the case. It's a business. It's a business for everyone.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. How do high-touch tenant interactions and strategic relationships dramatically lower the risk of expensive compliance errors and legal disputes?
Well, the compliance risk is out of the window when you work with Keasy, because we have AI agents that knows exactly the address that you're calling about, what is the regulation that's relevant to your specific area, and what is the list that you signed on. So mistakes rarely happens because when you put all this and you run it through an AI bot, you're getting the exact answer that's relevant for your situation. Now, on top of what the law already prescribed for us, we have our own set of policies and internal rules and how we run communication that helps us make sure that we are respectful, fair, reasonable, all of these things. So, of course, high-touch tenants are high-touch tenants. They need a little more attention. Maybe they send a few more emails and maybe they require a little more human interaction. But at the end of the day, we will follow the same policies. You can call us 1 time or 100 times. We will give you the service you deserve based on the service you deserve, not based on how many times you called us or how you communicated with us. One of the things I love about how we work is that our service team does not know anything about our collection team. You can owe $1,000 to your owner and you can call the service team with a problem and they'll take care of it as they would for any other tenant, no matter how many times you had problems with the collection team, because these are 2 separate issues. Maybe we'll evict you eventually, but as long as you are there, you'll get the service that every other tenant gets.
That's awesome. I ask this question a lot of times to other females that I'm talking to, because we do have a completely different viewpoint of this. What is the most significant institutional hurdle that you think women face when they enter into this heavily male-dominated real estate investment space?
Well, not. One day I will write a book. The book's title is going to be Tell Your Husband to Call Me. It's 2026 and I still find myself needing to explain that, yes, I built the portfolio, not my husband. He had another job. And yes, I approved this work order and you're not going to get a second signature. And I recently received Keasy is doing pretty well and I am the CEO. And somebody recently told me, well, of course they chose the wife to be the CEO. It's a property management company. So it's everywhere. My advice to strong, beautiful, amazing women is to simply brush it off and keep going. Whoever thinks this way, it's their problem, not ours. We can do whatever we want.
It's funny how this is still present
Yeah.
We've been able to vote, own property, have jobs. Now, mind you, it's only been, 50 years, but still.
Yeah.
And
I
this
agree.
mindset still persists.
By the way, comes from tenants too. There are moments where an escalation is needed, and I call the tenant and I say what I need to say, and the tenant is not in compliance. The next thing that happens is one of the male voices in the company calls the tenant, and the entire discussion changes, unfortunately. I don't know why are we like that, but I don't let that get to me.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So, why is flexible cash flowing real estate an ideal wealth building vehicle for working mothers and families who are navigating personal challenges?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, it's a fantastic career for moms to be in real estate. Okay. It's demanding, sure. It's lots of hours, yes. But there is some flexibility and you work with people, which is so fun, and for all of these reasons, I highly, highly, highly recommend this industry. Another thing about this industry is that they've stopped making real estate a very long time ago. They don't make anymore. We have what we have. That's all we have. So you got a product here that has limited supply and the demand is just growing and growing and growing. A bad business, this is not.
Yes.
So now in that space, what tax benefits are you looking for? What kind of cash flow are you looking for? What is your passion? What are you good at? What are you bad at? Tons of questions, tons of answers, and many, many options. But the bottom line, they don't make any more real estate. So it is a very, very good investment lane, if you ask me.
Well, I got started in 2008, and I tell people all the time, I got started in 2008. My kids were 8, 6, and 4.
Oh, wow.
And now, again, mine are in their 20s.
Yeah.
They were 8, 6, and 4 at the time, and it afforded me the ability to drop them off at school and be able to I came home. And I didn't have to worry about, I had to pick them up from school. I was able to be there every single day. If I needed to continue to work, I could work from home, even before COVID.
Yeah.
So it gave me that freedom. And I do recommend it for single moms, stay-at-home moms, all of that.
Absolutely. And I'll one-up you. I mean, I started when my youngest, my kids are now 15, 14, and 9. And I started, I started before my youngest was born, but I really started to flip multifamily and to grow the business after he was born. And very early on, I started taking my kids with me to job sites.
Yeah.
Anything from, I took my boy when he was like, 7 to an affordable housing complex, and he was going, where's the room for the toys? And I'm like, honey, sit down. There is no room for the toys. There are no toys. These are life lessons that I taught my kids while I was working.
Yeah.
And my boys are now, the 15 and the 14, they're working with mommy in the summer. If there is a cleanup, they'll do the cleanup. And I think it makes them better people.
Oh, yeah.
So you get to control your time. You get to, have your own schedule. You get to be a mom. Mm-hmm. But you also have education here in the mix. If you ask me, when they go out to the field with me, they learn more than at school. And they have a great school, no problem with the school. But still, where else are they going to see that?
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons all of our boys work with us as well. And all of our boys are in their 20s.
Yeah, it's a gift.
And even our oldest has decided to get property.
Yeah.
So he's seen it.
Exactly. It's really, it's like, everyone's talking about AI is taking our jobs and everything changes. And I see it. I see job slashes and I see less need of people everywhere. But guess who's not going anywhere? The repair and maintenance team.
Yep. So when you're looking at 2026 and the rental landscape, what major regulatory or operational trends should property owners be trying to prepare for now?
Yeah. Well, it's the inflation basically as a whole, or what happened to prices as a whole is the main thing. So on one hand, everything is more expensive. Loans, insurance, repair, everything is more expensive. On the other hand, I don't want to say rents flattened this year because it didn't, but it takes longer to rent. which is the equivalent of rent is flattened, because if it took you 3 months to rent, then, that's awesome that you rented at the same price or even $100 more, you lost 3 months.
Yes.
That little balance is the key right now for successful business. You need to skip that rent increase, keep the tenant, because you don't want to lose those 3 months, for example. Or you'd want to, maybe you're not going to do all the beautification that you were planning, but do all the repair and maintenance that will save bigger problems in the winter because things are a little more difficult. And that's exactly the type of things that Keasy is so great at, giving you that control. I just had a call right before this with a landlord who got a maintenance request to repair a deck. And we looked at the pictures together, and you know what? It's not a repair. It's a full, pure cosmetic power wash and paint, And then we had a legit discussion. I'm like, the tenant is a great tenant. We want to keep them happy. But also in the last 6 months, we've spent this much money on the property. We're not increasing rent. Do we or do we not do it? Honestly, it's the landlord's decision, not the property manager, not anyone else, right? It's the landlord's decision. So we were on a call with him. They told us what they want to do. As long as they haven't broken any rules or did anything that doesn't make sense, we will now communicate this respectfully to the tenant and make a plan that will hopefully get the situation under control without draining the landlord's wallet.
I will take a cosmetic deck repair over a full deck rebuild.
I know, right? Any day. Yeah, agreed.
So for the self-managing landlord who's currently completely overwhelmed, what's the first step towards automation without giving up asset control?
Write it all down. What are you overwhelmed about? You have 3 departments. You've got the rent collection, you've got the repair and maintenance, and you got Aver, my favorite team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Count your tenants, count the rent, make sure everything is under control over there. If not, Aver. Look at the work orders, see what's going on, see if you got it all under control. It's not, Aver. Then when you're done with these 2, look at the Aver, solve it. You're good to go.
Liat, you have been such a joy.
Thank you.
I want everybody to know that Keasy is accepting new landlords in Washington State, and they are building for expanding markets. So landlords, if you're interested, reach out directly to Keasy and Liat. He can also set up coaching for you to get you started in real estate investing. Liat, we're going to have all of your socials. I'm going to connect with you. Thank you again so much. I so appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining me on Make Yourself at Home. I hope you found insights and inspiration to help you navigate your real estate journey with confidence. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this show with your friends, because everyone deserves to feel at home. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep making moves that matter.